It is on. We're good, Glenn.
Okay. All right, Shell Energy Stadium, fourth match of the season, and tonight the Houston Dynamo getting set to take on Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake coming in with a win and 2 losses. The Dynamo would draw on 2 losses. I don't know if there's a thing called urgency at this point of the year, but I do think a win for both of these teams is going to go a long way, especially for the Houston Dynamo here at home tonight. I'll be on the local call on Apple tonight. We'll talk a bit here, set this game up. We've got lineups, a number of things here to talk about heading into this one tonight. First off, let's just give you the lineups. Why don't you read off the Houston Dynamo lineup here?
Not prepared. Justin. Oh, yep, you got it. All right. Houston Dynamo lineup tonight in net. We got Andrew Tarbell, Franco Escobar, Ethan Bartlow, Oedesu, and Dorsey make up the back line tonight. Then we have Artur, Bassi, Ladero, McGlynn in the midfield, Kovalchuk, and Ponce up top.
So that lineup is the same lineup as the Dynamo used in the last game. Now, that was a deep defending Dynamo in Columbus. Let's see what they do tonight if Ben Olsen comes out. I think the onus is on you at home to attack more, but this remains a question for the Dynamo, the attack. I can see why the Dynamo kind of battened the hatches down, defended deep. It's a way of controlling the game more, especially after you got beat 4-1 by Inter Miami. So they come away with gaining a little bit of confidence, picking up a clean sheet. A couple defenders that struggled against Inter Miami and Dallas are feeling better about themselves. The rookies feeling better about themselves. But tonight at home, can they add a little bit into the attack? Why don't you do the RSL lineup? Pablo Mastroeni, by the way, if you remember Pablo, well, guess what? Pablo was first in line to be the head coach. Ended up going to Salt Lake instead of the Dynamo, and then in came Ben Olsen.
Mm-hmm. In net for RSL, they got Cabral, then Ramirez, Glad, Hidalgo, and former Dynamo, Sam Junqua. Their midfield makes up of Ojeda, Diego Luna, and Glenn, you're going to have to help me with that one.
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
And then Marshuk is the Polish guy up front. Along, you've got Onelli in midfield as well. He was in a U.S. men's national team camp, and Arath Piol. So here's the thing. This is a team last year that scored 65 goals, Real Salt Lake. 39 of those goals were gone. Gone is Chicho Arango. Gone is, and you saw him on FC Dallas, Anderson Julio. And gone is Andreas Gomez. 39 of those goals are gone. So you're basically looking at an Australian who's got limited experience, who's a big body up front, in Piol, who's trying to replace a Chicho Arango. Okay, so it's a very different RSL. This is a very beatable and winnable game here tonight. Let's make no mistake about that. They also got bounced out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup very, very quickly against Herediano, even though they outshot them in the second match in a big way. But these are both teams in a lot of similar places. There are teams trying to find goals. As we've seen throughout even today, there's a lot of teams trying to find out, where they are at this stage of Major League Soccer. And that's no different for the Houston Dynamo and Real Salt Lake. But make no mistake, these are teams that are going to need to make signings that you're watching tonight in the future. These are teams that also have a tremendous amount of GAM. So they can buy down some of the contracts of players. Both of them are amongst like a half a dozen teams now that got $2.5 to $3 million plus of GAM. So it's not that you have GAM, it's what you do with it that really counts, It's not a cause of celebration that you have it until you actually do something with it. So we'll see. No, Eric Sviatchenko remains out injured. So if this game gets a little bit more open here tonight, it'll be more of a test for the Dynamo back four.
Who is RSL without a guy like Arango?
The same as the LA Galaxy are without a guy named Dejan Joveljic and Ricky Puch. I mean, I think we see a lot of teams in MLS that have sold off high-end, top-tier MLS talent. They're trying to replace it with, let's be honest, not the same tier of talent, yet they're hoping that those players are going to mature into something good. It's like Kovalchuk with Coco. Don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. At one point, you're going to have to get a better player, but it is opportunity. That's no slight to Kowalczyk, but you lose 4 players like the Dynamo did. You have to get players of equal or better caliber, quite frankly. I think it's the same for everybody, but I think there's a period where teams think somebody else may be able to step in, take the opportunity, and blossom into something.
I mean, this is only the 4th match of the season. I know it's early, but what are the Dynamo's strengths so far this year?
Well, the strength is that they got correction in the last game. They shut out Columbus. You know, I hear people saying, well, Columbus is the best team in CONCACAF. It's an excellent team. It's a different team, though, without Cucho Hernandez.
Not Columbus last year.
The night the Dynamo played him, there's no Cucho Hernandez. That's a guy you can play into the box, to his feet, in small windows, and he can make the difference. They couldn't play into the box, and the Dynamo defended well. So I think it's really to build off of that game, and you know, what I would like to see tonight, and I think the fans want to see a little more transition game, getting forward, a little bit more urgency now, and it's going to be interesting to how much of the reins Ben Olsen gives to his team here tonight, or do they keep it tight to defend a little bit deeper and look to, you know, kind of methodically build and go the other way. But they have a lot of challenges, as does RSL.
We do got a couple guys in the chat. Dynamo Faithful, it's always a good game when we play RSL.
Yeah, that's because we get results against.
Yeah. And then, Chris, who do you think could step up tonight?
Well, I want to see if Nico Ladero, and he is starting. So with Nico Ladero starting, I didn't get that on the road because you're defending deep. You didn't bring Nico Ladero here to run around and defend for you. You brought him here to make plays around the penalty area. So if you know you got a night where he's going to be sitting deep and expected to defend, to me, that's not how you use him. That's a night where you use him off the bench in the last 20 minutes. Now, tonight, if the Dynamo are going to be proactive and Nico Ladero's in the lineup, then that works for me. But if they're going to sit in the lower block or a majority of the game in a lower block, I think he's more effective coming off the bench to let everybody beat each other up. And then he comes on against fatiguing defenders like he did against Inter Miami, and he makes a play. So let's see how that plays out. Same thing with Ezequiel Ponce. Where is his strengths? His strengths is using his body, leaning in on guys, protecting the ball, getting his arms across people. And he's resigned to a guy that's doing a bunch of defending. He has to get it in around the penalty area. And the Dynamo have to do more to get him more clear-cut chances. I know he's taken a lot of stick from the fans. I know Aliou is as well. I'm not sure that's really fair. Why isn't Amin Bassi and Kowalczyk taking stick? I mean, you know, yeah, I get it. He's a $6.5 million player. But there's a lot of players that are, you know, you pay a lot of money for that. If you don't surround them with the right players, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. I hope Aliou hasn't totally lost his confidence. But I think the Dynamo are predictable. I want to see them be a little bit more unpredictable. By the way, we have to talk to Diego
Yes.
Luna. No question for Real Salt Lake. In with the national team. Mauricio Pochettino likes him. And I know why he likes him, because he's got a bit of an Argentine edge to him, even though he's Mexican. He's a fighter. He's a street brawler. He's one to watch tonight in combination with Piol. But you know, he'll play tonight, and then he'll go off to the men's national team.
It's funny, I've been doing this with you for 5 years, but the last 2 years, every time we play RSL, we are always excited to see Diego Luna play. I'm excited to see him play, and I want to see him do well for the national team.
I mean, we like individual players.
Yeah.
It's exciting, right? I mean, but the Dynamo really do have RSL's number in recent. I mean, they've beaten them in every competition: Open Cup, Leagues Cup, MLS regular season, playoffs. The Dynamo have owned them. So let's hope they do tonight.
RSL here in Houston hasn't won since 2018.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. It's a long time ago.
In 39 matches, Dynamo are 14 wins, 11 draws, and 14 losses overall.
Okay. Which means nothing with these two teams.
No.
Because these are two teams in a rebuild. There's a lot of newness going on here. There's a lot of fundamental pieces that have left both these teams, so expect the unexpected. Now, based on them being both low goal-scoring teams, you're not a genius to say you don't expect a lot of goals tonight here, but a lot of times when you say something like that, you then see goals. So let's see what happens.
I do want to say, guys, please like, share, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram. I did create a Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky. We're also on Threads. So follow Soccer Matters all there. When we are live, do us a favor, share it, like it while we're live. It helps our numbers. It helps us grow the pre-match show. Nobody in Houston's doing a pre-match show in English.
Well, we're doing this to try and grow our base. After the game, we always get a lot of great stuff, but we'll try to get it a little bit bigger in the beginning. If anybody else has any questions, let us know. By the way, live show, I'm hoping you guys will come out Tuesday. Senate Avenue Brewing, Jersey Village. We're going to have a lot of fun out there. There'll be a lot of giveaways. We've got a lot of guests coming in. We've got a guy named John Luke Blackburn coming in from Team Houston, which talks about how small to mid-level businesses can kind of maximize on the World Cup. We got Batiri, the artist. He's going to raffle off one of his paintings, but him and I collaborated on the starting to air World Cup final games and have some watch parties on some of them. We will have Josh Gardner, MLS Next. I've reached out to Tony Vigil, who is the head of the Dynamo Academy. I'm trying to get him out there. Haven't heard back from him yet. Hope to hear back from him. Why did the Dynamo decide to rebuild? They were a piece or two away at most. I thought last year was the year to go for it, but I don't know what happened with Herrera. He took his foot off the pedal. I would have been demanding that he gets that surgery right at the end of the season. But, I mean, look, I think you had to know that Coco was going to eventually go. Mikael, during last year, was getting all kinds of looks. I don't think these were things that caught anybody by surprise. Yeah, you took in a lot of cash, but now the real challenge is, before you get off to a really bad start here, is you got to find players. And I think the pressure's on Asher Mendelson. I think it's on Pat Onstad. And I also think it's on Kurt Schmidt, who is Ziggy Schmidt, the late, great Ziggy Schmidt's son, who heads up that side of it for Real Salt Lake. So those guys are under pressure. As always, it's not easy to build teams in this league.
As we try to do every pregame match, pregame show, who are the two players to watch tonight? One for the Dynamo, one for RSL.
I'd watch Luna. I think somebody whose eyes you're going to get drawn to. And it's not a player I want to watch the Dynamo tactically tonight, which could then lead to players like Nico Ladero and Ezekiel Ponce. But I want to see tactically what the Dynamo do, how aggressive they are at home. I do believe the onus is on them to be aggressive, but they've had two pretty brutal home games when it comes to self-inflicted mistakes. They got thrashed by Inter Miami, and so they need a really good game here tonight.
We got about 2 more minutes here.
Okay. What do you want to know? What do we want to talk about? Anybody?
Yeah.
Chris is driving the questions here.
We had a lot
Kyle, Dynamo faithful, always a good game with RSL.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we get results. That doesn't hurt.
No.
I'll just say something about Apple TV and the paywall.
Yep.
You notice they're kind of easing up on it. They're giving other avenues of getting their games out. But, when you watch the Champions League during the week, and then you think of the Premier League, you think of the Serie A, you think of the Bundesliga, French League One. Then you think that's your competition. Then you think of the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL. Nobody's watching any other leagues because those are the best leagues. This is a problem for MLS and TV, and it has been a problem for a long time. And I don't know what the answer to it is.
When we do, any chance Ari gets a look tonight? Or Arzu?
No, because he's not on the bench, I don't think. Hold on. Let me just check that for you, Chris. He is on the bench. You could potentially. He's an athlete. He's pretty raw. But I think, actually, potentially you could maybe see him tonight. I mean, at this point, you got to come up with things. Since Jack McGlynn's come now, this is a bit of a challenge for Brooklyn Reigns, right? To get on the field. So let me just read you the Dynamo bench. Jimmy Mauer's the backup goalkeeper. Steris, Duenas. Listen, Duenas, somebody made a good point. Duenas could be in the position of Kowalczyk. You could give him a run there. Gabe Siegel, Aliou Ibrahim, Michael Halliday. I think that's Junior Urso's going to make it as well. And Exxon Arzu and Brooklyn Rain. So that's that. All right, we probably got to get ready for game time here.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Hopefully get there after the game, and we'll have a lot more to talk about.
As soon as we sign out, there's also instructions on how to follow or how to hear Glenn's home call.
If you